ni kan, but we want to argue kenapa government buat this kind of decisions, kenapa government buat this kind of decisions. Any issues that you want to raise? Ataupun semua redha je apa government buat? Anyone? Anyone? Tidak? Ataupun tak berani mau cakap? Alright. Okay, so basically, anything that the government decided on or what that the government announced, they are basically answerable to the people. Okay, so the people are having a power to ask, okay, the government, why did the government decided on something? All right, so for example, like when we're talking about vaccine, COVID-19, for examples, okay, so the people are having a power to ask, okay, why we should have, probably a booster vaccine, for examples. Why these decisions has been made by the government? Why does the government create UITM, for examples, and why UITM has been opened only to Bumiputra? So the people are having a power to ask the government. Okay, so the government are also having a responsibility, okay, to answer anything that been asked by their stakeholder. Okay, so the stakeholder, of course, the people. All right. Okay, so because of that, in any decisions that been made by the government, the government is basically not 100% having a power to make their own decisions. So there are few stages of decisions that they have to follow, and in the end of it, any decisions that been made by the government can be asked by the people. Okay, so they are responsible to answer anything to the people. All right, so because they are using the people's money, and the power of a government actually coming from the people itself. Okay, so when we're talking about the financial control, okay, so when we're talking about financial administration, of course, we are talking about the accountability of a government within any activities within the financial management issues. Okay, so the financial control, okay, so it's easy basically to understand. Okay, controlling anything that been used by the government in terms of a people's money. Okay, so based on the definitions, okay, the financial control can be defined as a system of observation, okay, inspections, okay, evaluations, and corrections of the situations on the basis of the developed criteria. Okay, so the developed criteria here we can refer to any government law and also regulations. Okay, so you have learned in chapter 1, okay, that there are few framework of financial administration, okay, which can be coming from the federal constitutions. We have a lot of article which are talking a lot more on financial administration issues. Okay, and then you have as well the Financial Procedure Act, we have the Audit Act, and so on. All right, so this is some of the criteria that been developed through the law and regulations that been set up in the parliament. Okay, so the financial control, of course, there are few activities. Okay, so the first one, the government have to observe. Okay, it's not only the government, but the people also can observe. Okay, do some inspections. Okay, and they can evaluate, and then they can propose for some corrections actions. Okay, for the any activities which is related to financial of a government. Okay, and then they are talking about the concern with the efficient use of resources to achieve a previous determined aim and objective, or set objective that contain within a plan. Okay, so we are talking about efficient use of resources. Okay, so class, you are always right about efficient and effective, right? So do you really understand what does it mean by effective and efficient? Anyone can share? What does it mean by effective and what does it mean by efficient? What does it mean by effective and what does it mean by efficient? Can someone please respond? Ataupun saya panggil nama. Nur Fatiha, are you here? Nur Fatiha binti apa ni ya? Your full name. Nur Fatiha, probably you can share your understanding on effective. What does it mean by effective? Nur Fatiha, Nur Hidayah, you want to share something on what does it mean by effective and efficient? There are two Nur Hidayah here. You want to respond anything? How about Nurul Izzah?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. You want to share something? What do you understand about effective and efficient?
What I understand, effective is something that we can do. We can successful do what we have planned.
Okay.
Effectively do something.
Okay.
Efficient is we being able to macam mana nak cakap, do something that we plan without
Any mistakes?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you, Izzah. Okay. Adam Iskandar. Adam Iskandar. Adam. How about Albert? Albert Loy. Can you share your understanding on effective and efficient? What does it mean? Okay, Humara said that effective doing the things is supposed to do, efficient is doing what it's supposed to do at the lower cost or lower input. Okay, yeah. Good. Okay, thank you, Izzah. Thank you, Humaira. Okay, for sharing your knowledge on effective and efficient. Okay, so it's easy. Effective is doing the right things. Efficient is doing the things right. Right. So meaning to say, effective is you are doing the right things. You are decided on the right things for the people. Okay. So for example, like if we have the issues of COVID-19, for example. So the government have decided to do PKP, PKPD, right, on the early stage of COVID pandemic, for example. So um, probably that is the best decision at that time. So we can say that the government are doing the right things. Okay, buat benda yang betul mengikut keadaan. Keputusan dia adalah betul mengikut situasi semasa, for example. Okay, so this is what does it mean by effective. Efficient means, okay, we are doing the things right. Okay, when we are doing the decisions, okay, so we have to implement the decisions. So the decisions have to be made correctly and also efficiently. All right, so not only talking about the cost, okay, but also we have to ensure that everything that been decided by the government are based on implemented based on the planning, okay, that been planned by the government, and they have to ensure that everything is in the end of it achieving the objectives of the planning. All right, so this is what we call as efficient. Okay, doing the things right. Buat benda itu dengan betul. Okay, so you sudah decide satu yang betul. Okay, so itu kita panggil sebagai efektif. Okay, and then after you have decided on some decisions to some issues, okay, and then you have to do the things, okay, the decisions made, you have to implement the decisions efficiently pula. Efficiently adalah, okay, buat benda itu dengan betul. Okay, so kalau you kena bagi 6 billion ringgit for project A, for examples, you have to fully utilize the 6 billion ringgit for the purpose project, or based on the planning, okay, that been what do you call that, agreed on, and in the end of it, you have to ensure that the program that been decided, okay, after you are using all the money, the objective of the program has been achieved. So this is what we call as efficient, okay, in implementing the government decision making. Right, so that is basically the concept of effective and efficient. So in the end of it, any activities that the government are decided on, of course, these two element must there, which we call as effective and efficient. All right. Okay, so let's continue with the um, definitions of accountability. All right, so accountability, in short, okay, we can call as the acceptance of responsibility for actions and decisions. Okay, so meaning to say, accountability does not only mean that um, we are talking about a general responsibility. Okay, however, the people who been given a work, okay, should accept that they are responsible for any actions and any decisions that been made, okay, for certain things. Okay, so it's acceptance. You have to accept that. Okay, when you are basically been what do you call that, appointed for certain positions within the government. Okay, tidak kira lah sama ada jawatan tu tinggi kah, rendah kah, di tengah kah, di tepi kah, di kanan, di kiri kah, So you have to accept that this is your responsibility. Alright? So any actions, any decisions that you have made within your authority need to be answerable later on. Sebab itu bila datang audit, so dia akan cari orang-orang yang bertanggungjawab kepada sesuatu perkara di dalam government. So this is what we call as, accountability. So it also, defined as a commitment to express that work has been conducted in accordance with the agreed rules and standards, and the officers reports fairly and accurately on performance result in relations to mandate, roles and plans. Okay, so of course, so it's a commitment of everyone, or a commitment of a person, that they have to promise that, okay, the responsibilities will be carried out, okay, with accordance to the rules and regulations or the law and also the standards that have been set up with the government. So they have to ensure that, okay, another thing is, they have to report correctly. So they have to ensure that the work that been done has been report fairly and also accurately. Dia mesti tepat, dia mesti betul. Okay, so kalau you guna 6 billion untuk this project A, for example, so this 6 billion need to be reported fairly and also accurately. Tidak ada, misreported ataupun misconducted in the activities, okay, while using the people's money. Okay, so here, okay, when you later on when you are working with the government, okay, so when you accept the positions, automatically you have to accept the responsibility that been given to you. Okay, so it means that any employees within the government should remain continually accountable. Okay, maksudnya dia secara terus menerus accountable ataupun responsible for the things that been carried out. Okay, and then they have to act incompetent and effective, okay, to achieve a set purpose and produce desired result, meaning to say that the individual itself, they must be competent. They mesti what do you call that, able to do what been assigned to him or her. All right, so not only able to do the things, okay, but they have to ensure that they are doing the decisions or the things that been given effectively and efficiently. Okay, and then the next one is, the individual must ensuring that they are using the public fund entrusted to them for authorized purpose only. Okay, so not for their own gain or the private gain of others. Okay, make sure that every single cent of people's money has been used for the purpose that been authorized. Okay, yang ditentukan sahaja. Okay, so bukan diseleweng ataupun digunakan untuk tujuan peribadi. Okay, so okay, please take a look into a pool. Okay, you can see on the chat. Okay, saya akan create satu pool on the questions. Okay, which Wait, minutes. Okay, so I'll send a poll, okay, at the chat room. Please ensure that you respond. Okay, please ensure that you respond to the questions that made us in the poll. Okay, boleh tengok di bahagian chat. Okay, saya sudah submit soalan. Dapatkah soalan tu? Boleh nampakkah soalan?
Nampak.
Alright.
Ini ada nampak.
Yeah, please respond to the question. It's just a simple one. So pick up, using government card to pick up the children in schools. Okay, is it right for you if let's say you are having you've been given a government car, right, for using for you to use for authorized purpose lah, maksudnya for any activities related to your work. Okay, is it right for you to use the government car to pick up your children in school? Is it right?
No.
No.
No. Kenapa tidak? Kalau let's say lah, okay, kalau let's say kamu kebetulan lalu di sekolah dia, boleh ke tidak? Let's say lah on the way to meeting kan, balik daripada meeting, right? Okay, balik daripada meeting, okay, and then kebetulan lalu di sekolah anak, kebetulan pula, okay, waktu sekolah sudah tamat, alright? So boleh tidak sambil you mau balik, let's say, kebetulan you punya rumah pun sahala, and then balik ke office pun sahala, boleh tidak you guna the government car untuk pick your children in the schools in that situations? Boleh tidak? Kalau macam tu macam mana? Boleh tidak? Bolehkah tidak boleh? Satu laluan and then kebetulan kamu pun baru habis meeting and then kebetulan on the way balik pergi office and then laluan dia pun sahala sekolah anak tu. Bolehkah tidak ambil anak kamu and then hantar pergi rumah?
Boleh.
Boleh? Okay.
Tidak boleh.
Tidak boleh. Lagi yang lain? Boleh atau tidak? Okay, do you think that the action is ethical?
No.
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 Okay, of course tidak kan? Okay, sebab okay, walaupun dia sehala, walaupun dia kebetulan masa yang sama, okay, dia tidak mengganggu kerja dan sebagainya, it still masih kita kategorikan sebagai tidak ethical because you are using it for your personal purpose. Alright, so it's not right lah. Okay, how about okay, kamu ada dalam tangan RM2,000 yang government bagi untuk program A contohnya. Okay, and then bila kamu pergi kedai, okay, kamu lupa yang kamu belum ambil duit. Okay, So boleh tidak kamu guna dulu duit tu and then ganti kemudian dengan duit kamu?
Boleh.
Boleh. Boleh. Yang lain?
Boleh.
Boleh. Okay, so maksudnya selagi that is I think I don't know lah, but from my opinion, okay, selagi duit tu dalam amount yang sama kemudian and then you are using it for the right purpose, then it should be okay. So yang penting you are responsible for the money that been given to you. Okay, all right. So that is basically when we're talking about responsibility, and also when we're talking about responsibility are always related to ethics. Okay, dia termasuk di dalam etika. Okay, so ethics is really important because in the end of it, when you play ataupun when you are uh, you know um, uh, take care of the ethical conduct, and then it basically saving you from any unresponsible actions. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, with the objective of accountability. Okay, so let's take a look into the um, okay, objective of accountability. Okay, so there are basically three main objectives. So there are a lot of objective, of course. Okay, but we should focus on these three. Okay, so based on Fatima et al. All right. Okay, so the purpose of introducing a concept of accountability is, first one is to create an effective control to ensure that management of public money is accordance with applicable law and regulations. Of course, all right, to create an effective control, to control over, to ensure that any single money of a government, okay, of a people basically has been managed according to law and also regulations. And then to set up an effective system, okay, for public officials to execute the responsibilities entrusted to them. All right, so to create a system, to create an environment that the public government officers are implementing the things that been given to them. Okay, not only for the specific purpose, but they have to ensure that the implementations are according to what been planned and also what been expected for. Okay, and then the next one is money are utilized in accordance with authorized purposes and relevant activities are carried out in orderly and efficient manner without any wastage. Of course, we want to ensure that when we're responsible for the people's money, we have to ensure that every spending that been made, okay, for the people's money are having zero wastage. Okay, supaya tidak ada wastage lah. Okay, then there are principles of effective accountability, all right, to ensure that the accountability is effective enough, all right. So there are some principles that you have to follow. Okay, usually when we are talking about you are the employer and then you want to set up a responsibility to your employees. Okay, so the first one is to you have to ensure first, okay, that the roles and responsibility are basically clear. All right. So the roles and responsibilities of the parties in the accountability relationship must be well understood and agreed upon. Okay. So the first one, what you have to do is to ensure that the individual roles and responsibilities is clear. So dia tahu apa tugas dia tahu apa tanggungjawab dia. So itu pertama. Okay. And then secondly, okay, so you have to set a clear performance expectations. Okay, so your expectations towards the employees' performance, okay, what did they have to do, how they should react, okay, how they should do, okay, what are the actions that they have to taken, what are the things that they are expected to, alright, so it must be clear, okay, supaya kamu tahu ada okay, for example, like for students, okay, so the roles and responsibilities, of course, to ensure that you are attending the classes, okay, and then secondly, you have to ensure that all the assignment has been done and also submitted, and then you sit for final examinations, okay, clear three roles and responsibilities of a students, okay, in a class, okay, and then secondly pula, okay, UiTM must set a a clear performance expectations. Okay, so in UiTM we have said, okay, contohnya 50 markah adalah markah lulus contohnya. So you are clear that 50 marks is lulus. Okay, dengan grade C, for examples. And then if you want to get an A, if you want to get 3.5 and above, if you want to get a 4 flat, for example, you should score for A, which is A adalah 80 markah dan ke atas. So that is, some of the examples of a clear performance expectations. So same as well when you are working. Okay, so the employers must ensure that, okay, they set up the performance expectations clearly. All right. So for example, like, okay, so, satu hari you must sell at least 100 pen contohlah. Okay, so you have to ensure that, okay, every report has been submitted, okay, before the due date, for example. So there must be a clear expectations of the performance of the individual being informed. Okay, and then the next one, okay, after you are telling about the roles and responsibilities, you have clear with the performance expectations. Okay, the employer as well having responsibilities to make sure that, okay, the expectations that you are expected from basically the employees are balanced with their capacities. Okay, contoh, kalau saya cakap, okay, saya akan bagi assignment hari ni pagi. Okay, you have to prepare at least 25 pages. Kamu kena submit sebelum malam ini. Is it balanced with the expectations and your capacities as a student? Balance tidak. Okay. Can you get the situations, class? Okay, so saya bagi pagi ni assignment. Okay, jam 8 pagi. Okay, saya minta kamu buat satu assignment dalam 20 pages. Okay, saya mahu kamu hantar sebelum 5 petang. Boleh tidak kamu buat?
Tak.
Tidak. Sebab?
No.
Kenapa? Sebab terlalu banyak dan masa dia sangat singkat. Okay, so balance expectations and capacities also really important. Okay, sebab, okay, if you didn't balance, if the expectations is much higher than the capacities of a person, then in the end of it, a person probably akan be unethical. Okay, kemungkinan contoh kalau saya cakap, okay, hantar dalam masa 2 jam. Okay, 2 jam ni kamu kena buat dalam 20 pages, memang tak dapat lah. Right, so apa yang orang buat, dia akan copy paste hantar. Because of the expectations and capacities are not balanced. You expect too much, sangat-sangat tidak boleh. It's not right. Okay, so the expectations coming from the employers, okay, must balance with the capacities of a person. Okay, kalau saya cakap, okay, siapkan, let's say if you are in contohlah you kerja dalam sektor pembuatan ataupun contoh di kilang lah. Okay, saya mahu kamu siapkan 1,000 pasang kasut dalam masa 3 jam. Rasa boleh tidak? So secara logiknya sukar, right? Dan expectation itu, yes, betul, sangat-sangat tidak logik. Okay, so because of that, another things, okay, bila you jadi employer, you have to remember that, okay, the capacity, you have to look into the capacity of a person, then you give a balanced expectation with their capacities. Okay, so, and then the next one is, okay, credibility of reporting. Okay, so make sure that, okay, the report that been prepared, alright, for the employer, for the people itself, basically, okay, credible and also timely. So meaning to say there are no misinformations that been written, alright, so make sure that information is basically accurate, alright, so the report itself must be credible lah. Sebab, okay, bila you salah report and then it will basically impact, give a negative impact towards the next decision making for certain things. Okay, so contohnya, if you make mistakes in audit report di dalam tahun 2019, for example, of course, the decisions in 2020 pun akan terganggu contohnya. Okay, so sama juga dengan budget, for example, after the usage of the budget, then they have to report back to the government, and then the government have to take a look into the usage of the money. So if you are not report correctly and also timely, then it will in the end of it impacting the decisions making at the future. So itu antara benda yang it's not good for the government lah, for the people, okay, because of there are some probably informations that in the end of it led the decisions not to be effective for the future. And then the next one is reasonable review and adjustment. Okay, so everything that been reviewed, okay, need to be adjusted accordingly. Okay, so of course, it need to be carried out by a certain accountable party. Okay, the correction that been made must be something that is necessary. Okay, contohnya kalau let's say they want to review a COVID-19 vaccine program, for examples. Okay, so if there is any probably weaknesses, okay, on the program, then they have to adjust accordingly. Okay, so jangan tiba-tiba, mungkin let's say they just mungkin stop the program immediately, for example, contoh. Okay, so mungkin dia akan melibatkan impact kepada rakyat, impact kepada mungkin the government itself, the government spending and so on. So everything that been adjusted must be reasonable, okay, within the capacity and also of course within the things that is needed to be adjusted. Okay, so there are few types of accountability. Okay, so there are basically three. Okay, they are accountable for first one, government financial administration or government financial activities, and then secondly, any programs that been introduced by the government are also responsibilities of a government, and then also the next one is any activities within the government, okay, need to be responsible for. Okay, so we call as a management accountability. Okay, financial, they're accountable for money. Okay, program accountability, they are responsible for government program, any government program. Contohnya, okay, apa program yang kamu buat, right? Okay, so you are proposing a program, okay, within the government. You have been given certain amount of money, then kamu sudah buat dalam you punya assignment satu program ataupun dua program, okay, untuk rakyat, okay, menggunakan duit rakyat dan juga basically kepada rakyat. Okay, so ini kita panggil sebagai program activity. Contohnya aktiviti satu murid satu sukan, for example. Okay, aktiviti apa lagi? Mungkin dana keusahawanan contohnya, for example. So this program, okay, is basically an accountability of the government because they are proposing that program to the people. Okay, and then of course they are using the people's money. And then the next one is management accountability. Management is just probably managing any related basically activities within the government, okay, for the people. Okay, so they have to ensure that everything that been managed are being managed effectively and efficiently. Okay, and also they have to consider as well the government resources are being utilized economically. Okay, so contohnya when we're talking about managing the people's land, for examples, okay, pengurusan tanah, for examples, ataupun mungkin pengurusan kad pengenalan, contohnya pengurusan kesihatan, for examples, the activities in hospitals, for examples. Okay, so any things that been managed, okay, need to be done effectively and efficiently, and of course, okay, all the government resources must be utilized economically supaya tidak ada wastage. Okay, contohnya macam simple things lah, you've been given satu rim kertas, for examples. So even though nampak benda tu kecil kan, satu rim kertas, mungkin satu batang pen, okay, you kena bagi you've been facilitate with government, mungkin ada aircon, ada air dan sebagainya. So benda-benda tu pun sebenarnya, okay, we're talking about a simple management accountability. Okay, a tiny one, sangat-sangat kecil. You tidak tutup lampu, you tidak tutup aircon, for example. So this is some of the things that not been managed properly. Okay, sebab in the end of it, government bill akan meningkat. So bila government bill akan meningkat, of course you are using more people's money. So itu adalah management accountability yang sangat simple lah. Okay, other than that, okay, mungkin management yang lebih besar. okay, we manage satu kampung ni, for examples. So dalam satu kampung ni, okay, bila kita manage, okay, kita bagi bantuan, you know, kita bagi make sure that we know everything about the peoples, okay, mungkin kalau ada isu kebakaran dan sebagainya, so it need to be managed properly. Same as well, you know, manage school, contohnya kita manage sekolah. Of course, you know, we have to manage the schools properly. Okay, we have to always effective, efficient dalam apa juga keputusan untuk manage the schools, for example. So there are three things, okay, that need to be responsible for. Okay, the first one is the financial accountability. Secondly is the program accountability, and then management accountability. Okay, additional informations for financial accountability. Okay, so specifically we are talking about, okay, maintaining the accounts, okay, in an orderly manner and with integrity in accordance with applicable law and regulations. Okay, so when we're talking about financial accountability in Malaysia, we have to refer and following all the regulations that have been set up in federal constitutions. We have the Financial Procedure Act, okay, and then Audit Act 1957, Treasury Instructions, Treasury Circular, and also Accountant General Circular. And there are few more, you know, financial procedures that we have to follow. For program accountability, of course, okay, you have to ensure that the program that's been set up are achieving the objective and the targets. Okay, so it is to ensure that, you know, the implementations of the program are based on the agreed or the authorized amount of money that been given. And of course, okay, in the end of a program, you have to achieve the objective that been set up to ensure that the people's money has been used properly, so that the program itself is basically giving something to the people and also giving something back to the of course the country. Okay, so kalau program itu tidak berjaya, then of course dia akan jadi satu pembaziran. Okay, so pembaziran, we bazirkan duit siapa? Duit rakyat. Okay, so those who paying a tax, kita bazirkan duit mereka untuk satu program yang tidak patut. Okay, so you know, when you are making a decisions in doing a program within the government, you have to think deeply, and then you have to really make sure that the program adalah program yang bukan shop sendiri. Okay, so program itu adalah untuk kebaikan rakyat. So this is the responsibilities of the government. So if, let's say, in case of Malaysia, okay, each agency is bound to implement all the plans identified in their program agreement under the budgeting process. Okay, so basically you have learned in OBB ataupun outcome budgeting, based budgeting. Okay, so di situ ada program agreement kita panggil. So dalam program agreement, you have to agree, when you propose a program, you have to agree that you have to ensure that the implementations of the program and projects are basically based on what been outlined or what been planned. Okay, and then management accountability. Okay, so basically any activities of the government, of course, need to achieve the targeted performance. Okay, so contoh kalau dalam government, okay, dia akan set up, contoh dalam education, okay, so the KPM atau Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia akan dapat satu target performance. Okay, so performance-nya adalah make sure that sekurang-kurangnya 90% pelajar di Malaysia lulus SPM. Contoh, that is the target. So dia letak 90% atau 95% pelajar di Malaysia lulus SPM, berstatus lulus. Okay, so that is the targeted performance. So in ensuring that they are managing the KPM or Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia are managing the any things related to the kementerian, anything which is related to the schools. So they have to make sure in the end of it, you know, in the management itself, okay, the targeted performance is being achieved. Okay, otherwise, okay, they have to justify in the exception report. Semua ni ada dalam elemen di dalam outcome budgeting, outcome based budgeting, system that we have set earlier in the budget preparations. Okay, so that is basically the three types of accountability. Okay, so kita rehat sekejap sebelum kita sambung mechanism for enhancing control accountability. So now is basically 11:55. Okay, we will go back with the next discussions on 12 lah. Okay, so take 5 first. Right? See you in 5 minutes.